Alright, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at a frequency distribution table, and what this is a way of organizing data. The table helps us count how many times a specific result occurs, and this can give us the numbers that we might need to determine whether something is more common or less common, and decide whether or not this is useful information or not. So let's get started with our first one. So our first one is on a student's exercise routine for the week. Now we've gone through and I've already given you the tallies, and if you're not familiar with how a tally system works, it's just whenever you see a particular event occur, so say there was one jogging session at the start of the week, we would put down 1 mark, and for every subsequent jogging session we would keep going. Here we would have recorded 4 jogging sessions, and then the line through it actually represents 5. Okay, so each set goes up to a maximum of 5 before we start again, and these are a way in which we can keep track of what's happening and then convert it into a number later. So I've given you the exact number of occurrences in this tally format, and then from there we just determine how many that is going to be in terms of frequency. Frequency just means how many times it's happened. So to complete the frequency table for part A, all you do is read the tally. So for this first one we have 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then the dash through the middle means this has a frequency of 5. This one has a frequency of 5, then 6, then 7. This one has a frequency of 4, and this one has a frequency of 3. So this is how many exercise routines the student has done throughout the week of different types. Now let's look at B. For B, how many push-up sessions were completed? Well, they did 7 push-up sessions. For C, how many yoga sessions did they do? Well, they did 3 yoga sessions. And for D, what is the total number of exercise activities recorded for the week? Well, in this case, that's going to be 19. 19 activities. If we add the 5 and the 4, we get 9, and the 7 and the 3, we get 10. So 9 plus 10 is 19 activities. Now, why do we do this? This helps us visualize our complex data that we're recording as we go, and so we can see at the end of a period of time what we've done, and what we would have liked to have been done can be measured against this. So perhaps this is the end of the week, here's our exercise sessions, and we are going to say, I really should have done more sit-ups or more yoga and less push-up sessions. Then next week we can use this data to revisit how we are doing our exercise routines. Alright, here's another one. So a fitness center records how many hours members spend exercising each week. So the first thing is we'll convert these tally marks into a frequency. So we've got 1, 2 and 3 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 here, 5 with the dash through the middle, 3 here, 2 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Now it's important to see how in the previous frequency distribution table we had individual scores, but we can also have these ranges of scores, or these baskets of scores. Now this allows us to essentially take information that might be useful in certain groups and group them together, or remove certain elements that aren't clearly distinguishable from one another. So let's get started with our questions. So how many members were included in the survey? So if we add all these up, 3 and 7, we get our 19 members. Okay, now however way you want to do this is very easy for adding these up. Usually I just group them up. So here's a 5, here's a 3 and a 2, which is another 5. Alright, here's 2 more and a 5, and then a 4. So I had 3 groups of 5, and then I added on the 4 at the end. How many people exercised for 5 to 7 hours per week? That's this group right here, and we got 5 people. Well, 5 people did 5 to 7 hours. Alright, so between those groups, so 5 people, D, how many people exercise for less than 5 hours a week? So when we talk about less than 5 hours, we can't use anything beyond this point. Everything beyond this point is after is 5 hours or more, so we're only worried about these 2 here. So that's 7 people. The 3 plus the 4, and then E, how many people exercise for more than 13 hours? So here's our cutoff at 13. Everything beyond this is what we're interested in. So for 13 hours, only 2 people out of our selected group of respondents exercise for more than 13 hours a week. Alright, that's it for this video. Hopefully it's helpful, and I will see you in the next one.